There we go. You know, I've just been wanting to say we were going to be here come hell or high water. We did it. So welcome to the Rotary Club of York, where together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. We're delighted that you're here, and we're delighted that we have our friends watching us online. Leanne Wilson will lead us virtually in our opening song, God Bless America, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. President-elect Glenn Miller will offer the invocation, and JT Hand will introduce our guests and visitors.
Thank you, President Jackie. Rotarians and guests, please join me in singing God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, friends. Thank you for the comment about the hell or high water. I was trying to work a reading from Noah into this, but just couldn't do it. So with that, let us pray. Gracious, compassionate, and loving God, you teach us that all human life is sacred and that all of your children deserve lives filled with love, dignity, and meaning. We are thankful today for the mission of Penn-Mar Human Services and the remarkable work they do to provide these gifts to those whom they serve. We are grateful as well this day for the remarkable journey of our friend David and for the privilege it has been for our club and York College and others in our community to have played a role in his life, helping to provide him with the tools and support to reach his full potential. Finally, we remember before you today those who have been and continue to be impacted by Hurricane Ida and its aftermath, those affected by the fires in California, all who are still suffering from the pandemic, and all peoples throughout the world facing adversity. We give thanks to you for your blessings and ask all things of you, the one God of many names. Amen.
I too was trying to find a way to work that in, come hell or high water. I'm truly pleased, privileged to be able to do introductions for our visitors and guests today. We have a short list, but I would ask our visitors and guests to please stand when your name is called and to remain standing until President Jackie has had a chance to welcome you. I'm going to start out with David Boboade, a guest of Youth Exchange. Spartan number 1, Dr. Pamela Gunter-Smith, a guest of Jeff Vermeulen, and Norman Humber, who is a guest of past President John Kleindienst. President Jackie.
Thank you, JT. Welcome. Welcome. We are so glad that you're with us today. We hope that you find this program very informative and interesting, and that you will plan to come again very often. Rotarians, please help us welcome our guests. Okay. I am very sad to share with you that Pat Bankenstein, wife of former and longtime Rotarian Bruce Bankenstein, passed away last Wednesday evening after a very lengthy illness. Services will be held at Cooner Funeral Home with visitation on September 16th and a celebration of life on the 17th. In lieu of flowers, memorial contributions may be made to Village Library, where Pat was a volunteer for many years. And I'm sure that Bruce would appreciate hearing from his Rotary friends. At 7:30 tomorrow morning, you're invited to a program by Valerie Wafer, who's the chair of Rotary International's DEI initiative. She'll speak on RI's work in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Please see Tuesday's Rotary reminders for the Zoom link to participate. There's an article in the September Rotary magazine that I encourage you to read, The Science of Saving Lives, which features 5 ways to help stop COVID-19 in your community. Rotary International has created a COVID-19 task force, which is exploring the organization's role in responding to the pandemic. The task force is encouraging actions such as mobilizing clubs and promoting vaccinations. We'll be hearing more about the global state of the pandemic and what role we as a local club can play in mitigating its spread. The membership committee will meet today following our meeting here in the club as well as via Zoom. And the Service Above Self committee, originally scheduled for today, has been postponed to be determined at a later date. And now for our member moment. Martin Fedorko was born and raised in Pittsburgh. His family moved to Mechanicsburg in middle school, and he graduated from Cumberland Valley High School. He returned to Pittsburgh to attend the University of Pittsburgh, and after graduation was hired as a government bond trader for a mutual fund company. At the time, he believed he landed his dream job. He was working on the top floor of the building, surrounded by multiple computers and with all kinds of professionals, but he was working 12-hour days every day with no break. And so he realized that the job could possibly lead to a shorter lifespan than he had planned. So with his investment manager background, he was a perfect fit for a startup venture fund in York, Benjamin and Bond, where he was tasked with fundraising with a focus on intellectual property out of the university setting centered around healthcare strategies. Johns Hopkins and Carnegie Mellon were 2 of the universities he worked with. The company was recently acquired by WellSpan Health, and soon after, Martin began forming what would become White Rose Ventures, which began operating in 2020. White Rose Ventures is an innovation catalyst working with entrepreneurs, foundations, private investors, and corporate partners to deliver solutions that enhance and promote a regional business ecosystem. They do this through a funding arm and a support arm. The White Rose Impact Fund is the investment fund supporting the region's most ambitious entrepreneurs and operators. The support arm, White Rose Collective, is the engine to convene and support all entrepreneurial initiatives throughout the region. By leveraging both sides of the house, they believe they can meaningfully raise the profile of entrepreneurialism here in central Pennsylvania and give entrepreneurs every reason to not just start a business here, but to grow their business here. Martin's wife, Lacey, is from York and teaches Spanish at the York Academy Upper School. They have 3 children, ages 4, 2, and 1. He likes to golf and believes he may be the only person left on the planet that still carries a 1-iron in his golf bag. He's an avid reader and a huge fan of Seinfeld, where he has watched every episode probably 100 times and relates almost everything in life to something on that show. He likes to stay current on what is new and exciting across all disciplines and industries. John Kleindienst was his proposer to Rotary in 2018 and is a great mentor and friend. Martin became a member because he loves the networking, camaraderie, and the evolving demographic and dynamic. He sees that Rotary is open to what that evolution will look like and a willingness to embrace idea change and adjust accordingly. Martin, keep up the great work and thank you for all you're doing to promote business in our region. Walt Tilley will provide an update on the Youth Exchange program plans for the coming year. And we also have the pleasure of hearing from David Bobo Ade, a youth exchange student from Nigeria who came to the United States to study at Dallastown and stayed to attend York College, where he earned his degree in mechanical engineering on August 7th. Rotary has remained a strong support system for David in providing tuition, scholarships, housing, clothing, groceries, and Walt even taught him how to drive. So many in this club were instrumental in making his stay in America possible, and David would like to share his gratitude. Walt?
Thank you, President Jackie, and good afternoon, everyone. It may be raining outside, but it is sure sunny in here. And I have some great news for you. Youth Exchange is back. Essex and Rotary International have authorized the exchange to begin again on July 1, 2022. And so we are gearing up this year to get ready. And it will come as no surprise to you that our club's Youth Exchange program is on it. We have Dallastown Area High School and York Suburban agreeing to accept students for us when we have new inbound students next year. Tim Williams, our own member who's with York Suburban as their superintendent, indicated support. Dr. Zachary Fletcher of the Dallastown Area High School has indicated support. So we're gearing up, but we're not waiting until next year. We're recruiting outbound students. Those are students who are in the United States and want to go to another country. And it will come as no surprise to you that our club already has 2, but we're looking for more. So if you have any students who are a sophomore, junior, or senior in high school and may be interested, we have an information session scheduled for Saturday morning, September 25 for the students and parents. It's by Zoom. Let us know. We'll send them a Zoom link by email. That's all it takes, and we'll take it from there. So let us know if you know anybody that would be interested. But I want to euthanize our committee. Maybe, no. I want to get new members for our committee, particularly younger men. We have a lot of experienced members of our committee, but we're looking for more, particularly people who may have students in high school or junior high school or somewhere, so we can continue the school connections and so forth. If you are interested or know anyone who would be interested in serving on the Youth Exchange Committee and not be euthanized, why, please let me know so we can send them an invitation. Our next meeting is Thursday, September 23. It's at noon, and it will be dedicated to introducing prospective new committee members and providing them with information about the Youth Exchange program so that they can make a decision about whether that's right for them. Why would you become involved as a Youth Exchange Committee member? Well, let me take you back about 5 years. It's 2016, August of 2016. After traveling for 26 hours across Africa, Asia, Europe, and into North America, David Boboade arrives for what will be the most transformative experience of his life. He is about to become a high school student at the Dallastown Area High School. And he proves to be an amazing addition to our exchange program. Let me give you one example that stands out to me. We have many exchange students who come here, and when we stand and sing our national anthem, they stand out of respect. David sings with us. He decides while he's here to take the SAT, and he does well. And he decides, well, I want to get a mechanical engineering degree. Maybe I'll apply to colleges here in the United States. And I said, David, York College, York College, York. Well, we look into the York College program. It is fantastic. It has internships. The professors are knowledgeable, they're personable, and it's a program where you know them and they know you. It's amazing. And he applies and he gets accepted. And he begins his time at York College. And then terrible news. You see, David is an exchange student. He doesn't qualify for student aid, federal student aid, state student aid. And his father in Nigeria learned that his employment situation changed and he could no longer afford to pay David's tuition at York College. And so following his first semester sophomore year, I brought him here for David to say goodbye and thank you. Dick Brown introduced him, and just hinted at what was going on. I felt like I was some sort of rock star or something, because after that speech, J.L. Smith came up and said, "Walt, I know somebody. I have connections at your college. I think I can help." And Dr. Gunter Smith, you have empowered people who wanted to help, and it worked. We thank you. And then came Jeff Vermeulen. He said, "Walt, you know, I'm a member of the club and I work for your college. We can help." Diane Marino, chair of the scholarship committee, youth scholarship committee, came up and said, "Walt, we have scholarships. I think we can help." Leon Butler came up and said, "Walt, Philip Friedman scholarship. I can nominate David for that." Patty Rooney said, "We won't let him go." Glenn Miller came to me and said, "This is not how it ends." And they were right. All of them working together. 2 weeks later, David was enrolled for his second semester sophomore year, and we've never looked back. Rob Bowen, Albert Blakey, Roberta Oberdick all stepped up as host families. And now, a little more than 2 years later, after 3 college-based internships, a project building a telescope with a 3D printer for Rudy Park, David is here again. But this time, he has some very good news. David?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is David. It's an honor to be here today. First of all, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Walt, who's been with me throughout this whole journey. He supported me. He's been there for me like a father. Like you heard, he taught me how to drive. So without him, I wouldn't be here today. So please give a round of applause to Walt. Also, I'd like to say a very big thank you to the president, the vice president, my host family, all you Rotarians, and each and everyone that's just been there to support me and make this dream come true. It's an absolute privilege to be here today. So please give a round of applause for everyone. So I'm standing right in front of everyone here as a graduate and an alumni of your college with a mechanical engineering degree because of the good deeds and the kind heart of people. And also because of my willingness to work hard and, put in the effort to be successful. My mom always told me one thing. She said, "To whom much is given, much is expected." So rather than just saying thank you to everyone, I thought of ways, to give back to the community. And the first way I thought to give back to the community was to talk to my professors, email them, tell them, I'm willing to volunteer, to teach their students and help them with homework assignments, projects, anything they need help with, I'm there to do it for them. And that's for free, no cost. I don't need anything. And the other way I thought to give back to the community was to join this wonderful group of people, the Rotary members. And the reason why I wanted to do this was because, I would like to support their diversity initiatives. I also like to support their, scholarship programs, the Rotary Youth exchange programs, and any other programs that's available for me. I also like to give back to the community just like I have been giving. And so, to make this possible, I'm looking for jobs in the area, and I may have to settle for jobs outside of the area, depending on what I get. So if you are someone here today, or if you know anyone here today that has any job opportunity for me, I'll really like to be here, support the community, and do my best. So once again, I would like to say a very, very big thank you to everyone. This is like a dream come true for me. I've made myself proud. I've made my family proud, and I hope I've made everyone here proud as well. So thank you and God bless you all.
David, you have absolutely made us all proud and you inspire us. And we are going to work very hard to ensure that you stay right here in this community. We look forward to seeing a lot more of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Walt, for all that you do for this committee. A quick announcement. We just heard that the membership committee has decided to not have their meeting today after our meeting as planned. They'll reschedule that for a future time. And now Christoph has a Love for Community announcement.
Thank you, President Jackie. Before I get into, I've got three things to discuss today. First of which is I would like to make a rebuttal to Mr. Anstein's very pointed and distinct attack at golfers last week. And to kind of put it out there as to when he talks about the athleticism and things like that of tennis players. The big news in the golf community this week was the fact that there was a 6-hole playoff in a tournament that involved a lot of power, finesse, mental strength and ability, and eventually determining who a champion was of a tournament. In the tennis community this week, the biggest news has been somebody's upset with where they have to put their towel, and somebody's upset that it took somebody too long to go to the bathroom. Bill, excellent job last week, but you're going to have to take this into account when you start talking about the toughness of a sport. Second thing I'd like to discuss right now is we've got openings. We have openings. We have 7 openings for foursomes in our Love for Community event. I know a lot of you are just looking at these on your table right now as just an amazing headshot of Jackie, but actually if you turn it around, there is an application for you to come and play golf or tennis or croquet, whichever you choose. It's a big event for us. It's a huge fundraiser for us, and we need every one of you to take part in it. Third thing I'd like to bring up about the event is, let's think back to last year. We're coming up on college football season. Some colleges have already played. I know Penn State opens up this weekend. Last year, the University of Kansas, University of Arizona, didn't win games at all. They went over last year. All of you that are playing golf, tennis, and croquet this year, you're not guaranteed to win a damn thing. You might go winless. There's one place where you can make sure that you win. That's with our auctions and our auction events. I would say that unless you've got tremendous skill to put yourself on a winner's podium in one of those other sports that day, spend as much as you can. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself, damn it, to be the best you can be and win every single auction item that we have up for bid this year. That's all I've got right now, but I can't wait to see you all on the 13th and looking forward to playing some absolutely horrible golf out there myself. So I'm going to have to bet on myself in the auction. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, we have 5 really outstanding organizations that we're supporting with the proceeds from this event this year. So please, please consider being generous in some way to help us really hit a great mark in the event on the 13th. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our program. People with disabilities are the world's largest minority. The United Nations estimates that over 1 billion people live with some form of disability, and they are disproportionately represented among the world's poorest and at greater risk of suffering from violence, disaster, poverty, and many other hardships. Penn-Mar Human Services is one of the largest not-for-profits in our community, dedicated to providing opportunities for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities to live a life of their choosing. They're celebrating their 40th anniversary this year, and Greg Miller has been with the organization for 33 of those years. He started as a frontline worker offering direct supports and continued to grow in his leadership and management skills, serving in various leadership roles since 1988. He's the President and Chief Executive Officer of Penn-Mar Human Services and also serves as a CEO of Penn-Mar Foundation. As the organizational leader since 2012, he has direct responsibility for the programmatic, financial, and strategic operations of Penn-Mar. Greg holds a bachelor's degree from Shippensburg University and a master's degree from McDaniel College. He earned a certificate for performance measurement for management of MPOs from Harvard University Kennedy School of Government and a certificate for strategic perspectives in nonprofit management from Harvard Business School. Greg serves on several community boards, including PAR, Pennsylvania Advocacy and Resources for Autism and Intellectual Disability, MAX, the Maryland Association of Community Providers, and Maryland Works. Greg chairs the Pennsylvania Employment First Committee and has spoken at numerous national and international conferences on topics including leadership, organizational development, customized employment, transition planning, mentoring, and building sustainable relationships. Greg is an ordained minister and serves a local community church in Westminster, Maryland. He and his wife Terry have been married for 35 years and they have 4 children and 5 grandchildren. Fellow Rotarians and guests, please welcome Greg Miller.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be with you all today. And, you know, as I was driving up here, I thought, is anybody really going to show up? And then I thought, well, maybe there's something special to eat today that will get them to come. And so the brisket was pretty good, I thought. But then what I think I realized was that David's story is amazing, right? And so what a wonderful opportunity. I know, like, if the meeting ended right this minute, you guys have been blessed to hear his story today. And I feel like now it's hard for me to follow that act. And when I talk about what we do at Penn-Mar Human Services and I put presentations together, the hardest thing for me is not to figure out what to talk about, it's to figure out what not to talk about. Because there's just such complexity and breadth in what we're doing. But I'm going to try to take the next 20 minutes or so. And I know I'm very familiar with the presidential creep, like when they start easing their way towards the front, so you know you're running out of time. I'm sure Jackie will do that well. But I want to take some time just to walk you through. I know many of you know Penn-Mar or know something about Penn-Mar, but hopefully today I can kind of bring you up to speed where we are currently as an organization. Obviously, it's been a crazy couple of years, hadn't it? Especially the last 18 months. We'll talk just a little bit about that. And if I can figure out how to use the clicker properly, we'll get started here. There we go. Okay, so who are we? Who are we? If you've never been exposed to Penn-Mar before, Penn-Mar is a provider of supports to individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities, primarily adults, although we do work with some children. We're located mostly in southern Pennsylvania and northern Maryland, although we provide supports across other parts of the states, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Our mission as an organization is really to help people live the lives of their choosing. We have rebranded, and I'll talk about that towards the end of our conversation today with the tagline, "Live Courageously." And that tagline comes out of the experience that we see every day with the men and women that we support. And we recognize that every person that is part of the Penn-Mar experience has an individual story. And we're helping them to write that story. And we want that to be the story that they want, not necessarily the story that we want. So we come alongside of all the folks that we support, as well as their families, to make sure that those stories are lived out every day in meaningful ways. So we have 5 core values as an organization. Our first value is that of integrity. Our second is the value of excellence. We believe strongly in collaboration as well as innovation. And we actually adopted a 5th core value over the past year and a half. We had the opportunity to combine forces with another organization in a merger over the last year or so. And as we kind of crosswalked our values, we realized that although the words were different, all of the values seemed to crosswalk very, very well. But there was one that stood out to us that we needed to really bring more into the forefront of our experience. And that was the core value of appreciation. Appreciating the unique and the very special gifts that everybody that's part of the Penn-Mar family, our team members, those that we support, our families, our community, that we show and we respect them in a way that shows appreciation. Now, I know that for many organizations, most organizations have core values, and they're all things where people go, well, of course you want to have integrity. Of course you want to have excellence and collaboration. We actually have created a framework for what this really means in the real world. Not just the word, but how does the word integrity, what does that look like? How do we know if we're achieving that at Penn-Mar? And obviously today in this presentation, I don't have time to walk through all of that, but these are living and breathing values that are part of our experience every day, that we not only hold our leadership team to account for, but that we hold all of our team members to account for as well. So these are the guiding principles, the true core values that oversee our organization. So let me give you a little bit of history. In 1981, which was the year that I graduated from high school, Penn-Mar organization was formed as a Maryland corporation initially, and it was formed after several years of families basically who had sons or daughters that were in the public school system, who had graduated and had nothing to do, were pulling their resources to help their sons and daughters to maintain some of their relationships and to provide some activities for them, to do together. They would get together and go to a zoo or maybe to a ball game, these type of things. And because of the efforts of these families back in the 1970s, Penn-Mar organization was birthed in 1981 formally. The original operating budget of Penn-Mar was $2,000. And the activities that primarily occurred in the basement of the Maryland Line United Methodist Church that's located on York Road. So where have we gone from there? And I have tried to encapsulate as much as I could, as briefly as I could, because I can't really go through all 40 years of our experience. But prior to 2010, we were primarily what I would call a very traditional provider. We provided different supports like residential services. We had residential homes. We provided day programming activities for people during the day. And there started to be a little bit of a shift in terms of where we were starting to envision the future of how we supported people with disabilities. And Mike Summers over here will remember this really well. And Mike, I worked this into my story because it's so relevant. In 2010, we really started to shift away from what was considered like sheltered workshops. Sheltered workshops is where all the disabled people gather in one place, you bring work to them, they do a little bit of work, they get paid for what they do, and they go home. That was the old model of service. And we did it exceptionally well. We had created contracts with large entities, with businesses. We had a tool contract that was just phenomenal. But Mike, you probably remember this. I didn't ask you if I could share this story, but I remember because Mike was not only part of our board, Mike was also one of our board chairs. And we were walking through the Glen Rock facility one day, and some of the folks that we worked with were they were working on tools. And you ask one of the people, I don't remember who it was, you ask them, how do you like doing this? And they put a label on a tool and they threw it in a bin and they said, same, you fill in the blank. He said the S word, right? Same, different day. Well, that was kind of an eye opener because here we talked about these great things that we're doing at Penn-Mar, but the experience for the person was a very limited experience. So we really started to explore what else is possible. What else could we do? How could we do different? And we launched what's called our customized employment program. And our customized employment program is such that every person with a disability that has an interest in work, like real work, we want to help them figure out how to make that happen. and provide the supports around them to make that happen. And customized employment, basically in a nutshell, says there's something that people are talented to do where they can add value. We've got to figure out what that is. And it's probably not going to be a right off the shelf type of job. It's not going to be Home Depot's hiring. This is what they need. So we've got a person that can do that. Maybe we do. And when we do, that's terrific. But maybe there's something very different that's not even a job yet at Home Depot that would add value to their business, that we have folks that would be very, very good at doing that. And they don't even know what that is. And so customized employment is about understanding your business, helping to determine whether we can add value to your business. And the fact that we have a person with a disability that can add that value, that's a plus. But we're not asking for a gift, and we're not asking for charity or to hire somebody that's not going to add value to your business. When those two things align, it is a beautiful partnership. And there are very specific ways to look at those type of issues and look at business and figure out how that can happen. And today we've got over 100 men and women that are working competitively in local businesses throughout our area, where what they're bringing to work every day is not only valued, but it adds value to the business. And also in many ways has helped to transform some of the attitude and the atmosphere and the environment within the business. Because when you see somebody that has challenges, working really hard and enjoying that, it can change your perspective. So fast forwarding very quickly, in 2016, we created what is now a program that is a national model, and that is our Career Ladders program. In a nutshell, the men and women who are direct support professionals at Penn-Mar, who do the hands-on provision of our supports, don't make enough money. And part of that is because the government doesn't pay us enough. But part of that also is that profession historically across our country has not been valued the way that it should. Now, when I talk about government, I don't talk about it as like a bad thing. I am so appreciative for the support that we get from the federal government, from the state of Pennsylvania, from the state of Maryland. I have traveled overseas. I see what we have here compared to other countries, and we have it really, really good. But it still does not provide the level of value to men and women that are working hands-on with the people that we support. And they work for in many cases, what would be considered almost a poverty wage. We wanted to change that. And one of the ways that we wanted to change that was by lifting up the value of the work that they do. And so we started in 2016, our Career Ladders program. This is a program where we partnered with a national partner to provide certification to our direct support professionals. And with that certification comes additional responsibility as well as additional pay. Now, where'd the money come from? Because that was when we talked to our board about this, they're like, sounds great. Where's the money coming from for the additional pay? The money comes from several different places, but primarily it comes from our own efforts of raising money to put into our Career Ladder program. So we began an endowment in our foundation. That endowment currently sits, that part of our endowment currently sits at a little over $3.5 million, with a vision of growing that to $10 million. And the proceeds from some of our fundraising activities have funded that Career Ladder program, which cost us about $250,000 each year. But it also has provided incredible benefits to us in terms of being able to retain team members in our organization and to help them be equipped to do their job well every single day. In 2019, we basically created a new organizational framework where it wasn't, this is a Pennsylvania thing, this is a Maryland thing. It was, this is Penn-Mar. We are one organization. How do we seamlessly work across the state lines to ensure that people are getting exactly what they need when they need it? And it took a little bit of work for us to do that, but we were able to realign our organizational structure to support that. And then within the past year, we've actually launched our own consulting division. We have Penn-Mar and the team at Penn-Mar has always been rather entrepreneurial in nature. And through the years, we did some interesting things. We were refilling inkjet printer cartridges years ago. But what does that have to do with people with disabilities? Well, it's a task, it's a job, but that's not, our strength wasn't being an inkjet, manufacturer. What we realized is that our strength at Penn-Mar, our strength in leadership is in our proficiency within this field that we work in. How do we support people with disabilities? And so we have created our own consulting division where we are now engaged with multiple other organizations, helping to help them to see what the future looks like for people with disabilities. And it has been very, very successful. Right now, we have multiple engagements in that area. And it's another way to support our mission as an organization because it's a revenue generator for us as well. I'm going to keep moving real quick. So what does today, what does it look like? We operate 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, especially in our residential program. We support over 500 people with disabilities on a daily basis. Well over 1,000 people in terms of individual or one-time supports that we provide. And obviously our services there, Maryland and Pennsylvania. Our annual budget for fiscal year 21-22 is a little bit north of $48 million a year. So primarily our services are in community living. We have 56 homes that we operate throughout Northern Baltimore, Southern New York, Carroll County, where people live at home, homes of their choosing with roommates of their choosing supported by our team members. We also have in our program day learning centers. And as the field kind of shifted from sheltered workshops to more of a customized employment model, we are also shifting away from large congregate settings. So many of our folks now are supported in smaller groups or supported in the community. Many of the folks that we support with never set foot in any of our day programs because all of their supports are provided out in the community. But we do have our day learning centers in Shrewsbury at our North Hills facility, as well as, our Far Hills facility, as well as our Freeland Road facility. And we also operate a program in Carroll County that came as part of our merger, where we are also working with folks during the day in that area as well. In employment, we work with people, as I said earlier, helping them find jobs, keep jobs, training them in the jobs, supporting them, supporting the employer, making sure that it is mutually beneficial. We work with kids as they're coming out of high school to help design what their life is going to look like once high school is over, what's next, what work experiences may work for them. And we also provide a lot of support to families through a peer support network. And we do have a respite program that we operate in York County, and that's for families that still have their adult sons or daughters living at home that just want a break or need a break. And helping to keep a family healthy is really, really important. And we try to do all that we can so that when we talk about transforming people's lives, we're not just talking about the people with disabilities that we support, but we're also talking about their families as well, because there are just amazing testimonies from families. If you have, and I don't know if anybody here has a person with a disability in your family, but if you do, you understand the challenge that comes with that, the strain that can take on a relationship or on a marriage. The divorce rate of families with children with disabilities is very, very high because there's just so much that comes with that. And being able to be there to help a family walk through that in a healthy way is very important for us as an organization as well. So how were we supported? Real quickly, I'll go through this. We are supported through government funding, but we cannot do everything that we want to do just with the support of the government. I am very involved from an advocacy standpoint of advocating for appropriate resources to support the men and women that we employ to take care of the folks that we work with. But government funding alone is probably never going to make working in human services a very lucrative business. So we create our own opportunities as well. And I'm just going to populate this as well. You can see that we are funded, Penn-Mar has a foundation a significant foundation that we have intentionally worked to ensure has the resources to help Penn-Mar as we move forward. We get funding through the United Way. We are affiliated with the, I didn't see Ann here today. I threw that in just for her to make sure that they got their proper due, because they've been a partner of Penn-Mar, I think, since 1990. Donations, grants, foundation support, and special events. In our midst here at the head table, Jackie Summers is like, she throws like the best party I've ever seen. And so through our Black Tie Gala, we raise significant dollars for our organization as well. So government to me is not, it's not the answer. It's not the problem. They're one of our partners, one of our major partners, but we do everything that we can to ensure that we are charting our own destiny rather than having that charted for us. So let me move on here. So within the foundation, the purpose of the Penn-Mar Foundation is basically to support Penn-Mar Human Services. And they do that by securing financial resources that help us. And through our efforts, it all goes back to our mission. We try to run everything through our mission. How do we help support people in living their best life? What does that look like? And it looks very different today for a person with disability than it looked 30 or 40 years ago. Just as things change, I was telling somebody the other day, if when I started at Penn-Mar, you would have told me that I'd have people that we support coming and asking me if I can help them program their smartphone, I would have said, what's a smartphone, right? The world has changed significantly, and people with disabilities have the opportunity to make even greater gains in their lives through the use of different technologies. So we're always looking for things that we can invest in that are going to improve the lives of people that we support. And it has also helped to make sure that we are properly supporting our team members and expanding our reputation as an innovative leader so that we can spread our influence to others as well. While first and foremost, our mission is focused internally to the people that we work with daily, the vision of our team, the vision of our board has always been that we share what works with others as well. Because maybe there's a person with disability that just doesn't happen to live in our geography. But if we can help that person live a transformed life by helping the people that come around them to do better, we want to do that as well. And so we focus on that quite a bit. So I'm going to bug through here. So just a couple of facts. Our current and net assets in the foundation's about $12 million. And it took us a long time to get to $1 million. I mean, that wasn't that long ago. And then we got very intentional around our strategy of why people should give and what were they giving to, how that money was going to be utilized and how that tied into our mission. And we are just so appreciative of our partners and those that support us. And like I said, we pump a lot of that money or have through our Career Ladder program, which one of the main reasons that we do that is that the turnover rate and COVID has skewed everything like with everything else. Prior to COVID, the turnover rate for a provider of supports across the nation in direct support professionals was about 45% a year. That was prior to COVID. During COVID, it just went completely haywire because we were fighting all of the different forces at play, people actually making more money not to work, people having their schools closed. We have a lot of moms that work for us, and now they're homeschooling their kids. They can't come to work. All of those pressures, all of those issues. But one of the things that we found was that in our Career Ladders program, where we are helping people to become nationally certified and providing support and financial incentives for that, our retention rate is 86%. And so it costs us money. It's hard to even put a number on how much money it costs you not to have the right people in your organization, right? So the cost of not having good team members is far greater than the cost of making sure that we keep good folks in our organization. So that's why we invest so heavily in that. And then one of the other very insightful things that our foundation did was they created a team member care fund so that if there's a person that's working at Penn-Mar that has an emergency or something beyond their control that they just need some financial assistance with, they can actually go to our foundation, and our foundation will help them with that need as well. So I wanted to talk, how are we doing on time here? We got about 5 minutes? Yep. Okay. So just real quick, I'm going to burn through COVID real quick because COVID, how did COVID affect Penn-Mar? Well, half of our programs closed one day and the other half of our programs had to go into operation 24 hours a day. So we had both sides of that. All of our day programs shut down, just like all other businesses did. But because we provide residential support, now not only were we providing that support like we normally did, everybody that lives in one of our homes has something or a place to go during the day, whether it's their job, whether it's a day program, and all of a sudden none of that was there. So we're now providing 24-hour support for everybody around the clock. So there was a lot of stresses on our organization. We were not able to participate in the payroll protection program because of our size. And we did have to, early in the pandemic, we did have to furlough about 150 of our team members. It was tough times. We created a task force there that met on a daily basis for months, 7 days a week, because we were had to pay such close attention to what was going on with COVID. And as we're coming out of this, we're trying to chart the future course, but I thought we were in the 8th inning of a 9-inning game like 6 months ago. I don't even know what inning we're in right now. So it is a daily and a weekly challenge to navigate the environment, but we're doing the best that we can. We keep our eyes primarily on how we protect our team members, how we protect those that we support, have a very, very high vaccination rate among folks that are being supported by Penn-Mar. And we're doing well with our team members. We're not requiring vaccination, but we've got about 75% of our team members that have been vaccinated, and we continue to educate in that regard as well. So I think I'm just going to go to, at the end of this presentation, I want to just talk about where we are in 2021. As we have rebranded, we've rebranded under the tagline, Live Courageously, as I mentioned up front. And I'm actually just going to play a video for you so that you can understand why we've done that. If I can get to it. So I think I'm going to end there, and 5 minutes for questions or a few minutes for questions, Jackie? One or two questions if anybody has any. I'm sorry, I feel like I kind of had to rush towards the end of that, but yes, sir. So we work with about 500 people on a daily basis, providing supports every day. Although there are some people that we might provide a support for once a month or maybe even once a year. But on a daily basis, we're working with about 500 people. We're in primarily York County, Northern Baltimore County, and Carroll County. That's our primary area that we work in. Yes, sir. Yes. The question was, do the regulations in each state cause us headaches? And I'll say this, the answer is unequivocally yes, because they're different and we're trying to work a seamless program with different sets of rules. But I will also say that during COVID, the ability of the states to flex a little bit with some of their requirements has been very, very helpful for us to walk through a very, very challenging time. But yeah, we keep our eye and we try to make sure that policies and procedures are not state specific. There's a few things where because of what may be required in Pennsylvania versus Maryland, they might have to flex a little bit to accommodate that. But for the most part, we're involved with that stuff intimately each day. So we just try to do whatever we can to make sure that we work through those regulations and that they're not barriers. We want to make sure that the regulations are catalysts to positive change, not barriers to actually getting things done that people need in their life. So. Right. Thank you, guys. It was really good to be here with you today.
Greg, thank you so much. Thank you for making your life's work to focus on the most vulnerable, focus on an underserved population. We appreciate your passion, and I have the benefit of getting to see that on a daily basis. So thank you. Let's give him another round of applause, please. Greg was kind enough to sign the book plate in the book Ties Travels All Aboard by Kelly Starling Lyons, and this will be presented to Logos Academy. Next week, the program will be Randolph G. Russell. He's the author of American History in No Time, a quick and easy way for anyone to learn the basics in just a few hours. He'll talk about connecting with the past and how that not only makes us better citizens, but also enriches our lives. Russell's informative and entertaining presentations have been enjoyed by more than 100 Rotary clubs from Orlando to Kansas City to Las Vegas. And our closing quote today is by Roger Crawford. He is the first and only person in American history to be a United States Professional Tennis Association athlete and play a Division I college sport with a severe disability. Being challenged in life is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. Rotarians, please be safe out there. And I look forward to seeing you next week. This meeting is adjourned.